I talked to my real doctor yesterday, so it's like allergies for me.
That's it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's worse.
No, it's not like
allergies.
No, she said like you. My doctor's like, you have bad allergies. Like, I do. She said, take a Zyrtec, and I go, well, I'm taking a Z-Pack, and she's like, where'd you get the Z-Pack? I'm like, I just had an extra one.
Yeah.
Call my backup doctors that you don't know about.
You are like Michael Jackson.
I know.
Oh, no.
I know that my wife came home yesterday from Hawaii. And like, since she's been gone, I've had my oxygen tank hooked up to my breathing machine because I wear I have the CPAP with my sleep apnea, but the breathing machine the oxygen tank makes too much noise for her, so I had to sleep without it on last night. So I figure I'm going to start napping more, and when I nap, I'll use my oxygen tank.
Yeah.
And then someone sent me that video. You guys see that video, of Lady Gaga?
No.
She's walking around with an oxygen tank hooked up to her face.
Why? That's
a portable oxygen tank. Like, she's got one. Like, she's walking around with it, like an ambulance.
But she's like wheeling it around.
No, it's in her hand, and this goes up to like a little mask. And that's how she walks around.
At least like make a backpack out of it.
There's got to be like a Louis Vuitton case for that.
Right.
For her.
Sure,
Yeah, but I'm way ahead of the game. If Lady Gaga's doing it, I'm like, me and Gaga are like on the same.
All the things that you do to stay healthy, and like you got the hyperbaric chamber, you've got all these doctors on call, you got the cold plunge, and it seems like you're in pain and not feeling well
all the time.
Quite a bit.
It's all going to kick in at some point. But anyway,
you got the stem cells.
I have the allergies, but Kyle, your husband, he's sick right now, right?
Yeah, but he's like sicker than I think I've ever seen him before. Like, his body temperature usually runs really super low. So he has a fever when the thermometer says 99, and it was like almost 102 yesterday. I've never seen him this sick before.
Oh, see, I don't have a fever or anything.
That's a high fever too.
Yeah,
Dang.
and he's got like almost sinus infection symptoms. Like, he's coughing and like it's all congested, and then the fever on top of it, and then I think he's pink eye. Like, he's a mess right
Do you
now.
want one of my Z-Packs?
I'm so sad. He actually his doctor just called him in a Z-Pack yesterday evening, because like I was telling him all day, I'm like, you need to like call the doctor. You need to call the doctor. And he's like, well, I just called the doctor for the pink eye. I was like, well, this is worse than pink eye. Like, now you have a really bad fever. I feel like that means there's some sort of infection going on. And he's like, okay, so he texted the doctor, but it was like I think later in the evening that they never called in the prescription, because I kept calling like the pharmacy, like, do you have the prescription?
I have
yet?
one
Do
in
you
my
have the
glove
prescription
box.
yet?
I have an extra one in my glove box.
How? You just have these Z-Packs
Right. Like,
everywhere.
what? Those are like prescribed to you.
I got Grant one a couple years ago. Remember that, Grant?
Like, what?
On the down low.
Yeah.
And
Don't tell anybody.
Not expired or anything like
No,
that?
I just picked it up. I just picked up two of them.
That's so funny.
All right.
I need the hookup like that. I was driving through. I actually drove through the pharmacy once already to get his pink eye medicine, and the pharmacy at the Walgreens in Gilbert listens to us, which was really awesome. But I'm like, maybe that could be my hookup.
Right.
When I went to pick up the
Could be my
Z-Pack,
Johnjay like hookup.
the pharmacist, I'm waiting this line when I get the Z-Pack, the pharmacist goes, whoa, I heard you were sick. And I was like, and that's kind of weird, because if you're a pharmacist, you probably deal with a lot of sick people.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you need to stand behind the glass. They're the ones that should have been wearing masks.
Yep.
But at any rate.
They also got all the drugs back there to keep them
Yeah,
good.
they can't take it. So I haven't really talked about this on the air, but I bought some property, like, and so yesterday we closed on this property today, and yesterday, because my wife came home from Hawaii, we had to sign all the papers, right? And I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, but it was like a notary had to come in my house last night at 7:15. And she, what an experience. I was over in my life. I've purchased a few properties, right? Whatever. So she comes over, and I have to sign all this stuff and initial all this stuff and sign and put the date, and she notarizes everything, right? And it's a big stack. And I've never had this happen before. But this woman critiqued my handwriting and made me rewrite my 8s, because it was, August. I had to write, and she's like, can you loop your 8s? And then she would get upset and go into another stack and pull out another sheet and make me redo it.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
She's like a
But
teacher.
It's your handwriting.
I know, that's what I said.
Isn't that like it's unique to you?
And then I got so nervous because it's a huge stack of papers that I got so nervous towards the end. I would just shake. I started sweating.
Oh, no.
And I go, my God. I go, I've done this before. I go, but you got me so. And my wife was like, would you just sign it normal? My first signature, I signed it, right? And then I was like, I don't know why I signed it like that. I go, I don't really sign stuff like that. And she goes, that's not your signature? I go, not really. I go, but don't worry. And then I signed the next one. my normal signature, and she compared, and she's like, "You're gonna have to do this one again."
Oh.
And I was like, "Okay." And then she was there for an hour. I was just like,
Did she explain why you were having to do it that way?
she was like, "If it doesn't match, then I'm gonna have to come back here, and you're gonna have to redo it again." Which I don't necessarily believe because I've done this many, many times.
She's
It's
just
my
really,
signature.
She's really particular.
Yeah, she's a
really
stickler
particular.
for sure.
Yeah. You got the wrong one. You
Those
needed
are
the laid back notary.
Yeah.
I told Blake, I go, she was like a really mean substitute teacher, but she was really nice.
Oh, those are the worst.
It was like I remember when my son would have a substitute teacher and complain about her, and then we'd meet her, and I could see her from a distance. She's mean, and then when at the parents meet her, hi, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
She's. I mean, she was generally. It was like Blake was the parent, and I was the mean kid or the kid in trouble all the time.
Right.
Like, oh, redo it. It was almost like she took a red marker to all the papers and corrected the way I made my 8. My 8 was sloppy. She made me do the 8. My 2 was a little sideways. I had to go back and redo my 2s. Can you loop your 2s a little bit? Like, I was like, what do you, this is the way I learned how to write. Like, I'm sorry.
Strange.
I know. It was so weird, man.
Well, how is Blake? I mean, she had a big emotional day.
Well, when she came, I picked her up at the airport, and then we immediately had to go take Dutch to his friends to go play pickleball, drop him off. Then it was just her and me, and she was kind of like, when we got home, there were no dogs in the house because the dog's with the dog sitter. There were no kids in the house, and she started to cry.
Aww.
I know. So we're gonna get the dogs today, and I was like, hold on, everything's, I'm trying to cheer her up a little bit, looped my 2s. Well, watch where you write. Look at my writing. Is that funny?
Hey, look at this.
I'm writing on my face.
I almost feel like you're always